If there were ever two people who could bring me back to life, bring me back from the dead, shall we say, it's Kackie and Phytosurgence. So today is a very exciting video. I am going to be swatching and demoing Phytosurgence's new bronzer product, the Spectral Sunlight Cream Bronzer, as well as Miss Kackie, the blush queen herself's collab with Finding Ferdinand, which I am so very excited about. So if that sounds good to you, I hope you'll stick around, hang out, and keep watching. I can't wait. Let's dive in. All right, it has been some time since we last chatted, and we will get into that and to get ready with me. But today is all about joy and excitement, and I am so excited to be filming this. However, I say all of this so that you give me a bit of grace when it comes to logistics, quality, all the things. I made sure that our lighting is very accurate to color. You could even kind of see some of my yellow-green undertones. I am going to do a full face today. We'll do one side of my face with kind of the warmer golden-y colors, the other side with the more kind of latte makeup, if you will, or neutrals and rosier tones. I am going to start from the base because today's been wild and I didn't have a chance to do this before I sat down to film, so we're going to do that together. And while we're doing that together, why don't we talk about a few things? So I am going to be sticking to my typical makeup products today because I know how they work together and I don't want any surprises. Now, I have used the Phytosurgence Cream Bronzer for quite a while now, and we'll get into why that is. However, I have swatched the cheek products from Kackie's collection with Finding Ferdinand, and I have worn the lip gloss, but I haven't worn them all together in one go, so that's kind of what we're testing here. Rest assured, you will be seeing these multiple times on my channel, so for a later review, stick around. You might just find out exactly how I feel about them months into it. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's start with, hi, how are you? Again, we'll catch up on a more personal level and get ready with me that I will film this week. I really want to get this up because I'm so excited about it and I'm tired of not filming. I miss it. So Phytosurgence released a cream bronzer, and not only did they just release a cream bronzer, the beautiful minds at Phytosurgence made sure that they gave us quite a plethora of shades, and we are going to play around with the two latest shades. We'll get into kind of how the shades are set up, the price point, everything behind it when we get to the end of this video. So we'll do kind of a demo of the products. I'll do some comparison swatches, and then we'll get into pricing, if I think it's worth it, all of that. But I just want to be, all right, before I was so rudely interrupted by my filming equipment and the lighting, I was saying I wanted to be as transparent as possible and also kind of celebrate this moment with everyone here that is not new to my channel. If you're new, I welcome you to celebrate, but you might not have as much personal buy-in. And that is to say that I received both of these products in PR, and that is so crazy to me. And the fact that the two PR items that I ever received in my whole time on YouTube comes from Kackie and Phytosurgence just feels so right. They are two brands and people that I just believe in with my whole heart. Kackie is a wonderful creator here on YouTube. I'm sure if you are subscribed to my channel, you know of her. If you don't, where have you been? Just kidding, but I will, of course, link her down below. She has such a beautiful mind when it comes to painting the face because she is an artist by trade in many different categories: hair, art, whichever. I have been watching Kackie for 4 years. Kackie, I don't know if you know this, but I found you through your Natasha Denona Safari palette review, I believe, back in the day. And I have chatted to her for probably that long, and she was instrumental in kind of building me up to a place where I felt confident and comfortable in creating my own channel. So just a wonderful human being who has such a great eye for art and color. And also, we share a lot of similar tastes. We do diverge on a few things, but it's not many. We tend to like a lot of the same things, especially when it comes to blush. Our undertones are slightly different, so I kind of always say that I live in the middle of Kackie and Hannah Louise Poston, if you are familiar with those two. So I am very, very fair, pale, whichever way you want to call it. You know, here's some white. It's getting close, do you know what I mean? But where I kind of differ from Hannah and Kackie, whereas Hannah is kind of more gray-green centered in undertone, and Kackie is more kind of golden peach centered in undertone, I am yellow-green. We love to see it. So that's going to influence a lot of my feelings around colors in these products. So I wanted to put that out there, but also that I got PR. Who am I? The second thing, Phytosurgence. What an outstanding brand. I have always been such a huge fan of the brand. They are a brand that completely re-excited my love for makeup with such innovative formulas and colors that were just native to the skin in a way that were so complementary for beauty makeup, which I tend to really enjoy doing. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy a little bit of pops of colors, but beauty makeup is kind of where I've always really loved to be in. So Phytosurgence is a perfect brand for that. I swear that this camera is out to get me today. What I was saying was they do add pizzazz in their eyeshadows with some of the glitters, and I love it for that, but it's just a really easy to use, innovative formula that has not just innovation in the formula, but also in the colors. Everything's just very native and beautiful for a range of different skin tones. And it was so exciting that they followed up that same trajectory with the bronzer. We knew they would, let's be honest. And I filmed this already, and I had such nice things to say about both Phytosurgence and Kackie, and we're going to try to redo it. You also are getting to see a lot of the mess in my office. Welcome to my life. What I was saying is I am telling you all of this so that you know up front in all transparency that I received both of these products through PR. With Phytosurgence specifically, I was so over the moon that they asked me to help model the 2 lightest shades, and I'm on their website in case you missed it on Instagram. I was sending that to everybody, screenshot to my mom. Like, I am on a cosmetics website. I've officially made it. My career is made. I am queen of the world. Do you know what I mean? Mind blown. I'm so, so thankful for Jason and Tom for asking me to work with them on that, for getting to play around with the formula a little bit in advance, and to just geek out over the rosy bronzer world of it all. And I'm so excited to get into the demo, but I want to make this very clear to everybody. Phytosurgence is just a brand that I have always really loved. Their formula, their color stories, even down to how they name their colors and the descriptions on their website. It is wild to me how all of that can live in their brains, because it's beautiful and I would live there if I could. Frank needs to let me finish this because I've tried this 3 times. I could not have handpicked 2 better people and companies to be my first ever PR packages and partnerships. I am not required to talk about these products. I am not required to tell you that they're wonderful, but I am going to be inherently a little biased because Not that these products were free, not that I want to continue a relationship with a brand, and I'm afraid to tell you that they're bad. If I think they're bad, I would absolutely tell you that. But they're going to be a little biased because I love what this creator puts out and I trust their judgment in color and texture and beauty products. And I have for years at this point. And on the other hand, with Phytosurgence, I love this brand. I trust their formulations. I trust their colors. And I don't foresee any issues coming with either of these products. I can tell you that I have used some of these products and I love them and they will be in regular rotation. But I just want to make it very clear that it has nothing to do with the fact that I receive PR and everything to do with the fact that I would march behind these people in battle. Do you know what I mean? That's it. I don't think that I did it as eloquently as the first time and I had a lot more nice things to say. So just know, Kackie, Jason, Tom, I love you so much. It means the world to me that you sent me these and I love wearing them on my face. And yeah, you're just the best. You know what I mean? So this is also a celebration. Thank you everybody for being here. I can't believe my channel has grown to this point. Very exciting. Okay, let's get into some bronzer application. You know what I mean? All right, we're gonna make sure the hair is good and off the face. So bronzer, we are going to do shade number 2, Rosy Daybreak, which is my favy fave, on one side of my face. And we will do shade 1, Golden Daybreak, on the other side of my face. There we go. Quick swatches. We have shade 2, Rosy Daybreak on top, shade 1, Golden Daybreak on the bottom. You can see just a very slight difference. You've got more of like a true latte rosy bronze here, but it's still very neutral. It doesn't go pink like some of the other bronzers we'll swatch it against later. And then we have Golden Daybreak in shade 1 here, which again has a little bit of that golden undertone to it, but it's still very, very neutral, especially compared to something like the Rare Beauty, which again we'll swatch next to this. They're just both incredible. If you're on kind of the lightness side that I'm on, both of these are beautiful, especially if you're someone who leans a little bit neutral. I'm very partial to the rosy shade. However, the golden shade is beautiful too. You can see I've gotten use out of these and I have a sample that I've dug into because I have not worn any other bronzer besides these lately. To apply, I'm going to use the Sky Fluff from Phytosurgence. You can see I've been using it for this exact purpose. This is also what Phytosurgence recommends. So as you'll notice, this is the same packaging as the Spectral Shine products. The pans look the same. At first glance, the product even looks the same. Tiny bit of sheen. However, it does not feel that way at all. It is very easily picked up on the finger. Sorry, my finger slipped off. Very kind of like slippy feel to it, not in a silicone way, but as you can see, you can pick up much more product pretty easily on the finger. There's a touch bit more oiliness, but when I say that, it's not oily. It just has a little bit more moisture to it than the Spectral Shine product does. So it does pick up on the brush fairly easy. Just do a few dabs like that. So I just like that. And we'll go in on this cheek. I mean, how pretty is that? So pretty, and just, you know, adds a little bit of life to the face without it being too much. And I can keep adding these on and I don't get that like too much look. Now we might look a little odd today because I'm only going to bring it in half, but that way you can see the difference between rosy and golden. I am going to add a little bit because I'm quite fair even after a day at the pool this weekend. So that is Rosy Daybreak shade 2. Do you see how it just adds like such a realistic life back to my face? I love it. I love it. I'm going to wipe off the brush just to prove to you there's nothing on this brush. Now we will go in with Golden Daybreak. And again, I'm just picking it up. I tend to pick up a lot of this because I love it, but it is very easy to kind of sheer out or build up depending on how bronze of a look you want. But see, there's golden. You can see just a little bit more goldenness peeking through. I will say, if you're someone who doesn't really love neutral to cool colors, I would stick with golden just because it is still neutral enough that it's not going to look out of place on skin, especially if you're someone who tends to go red. I do think Rosie's probably a better match. As you can kind of see, this is more of like a bronzy summertime bronzer for me, whereas this is kind of just more believable, native to my skin. It's just gorgeous. You can kind of see the difference here where we have a bit more rosy. I hope I'm doing that right. A bit more rosy, a bit more golden. You can kind of see that. My brain just totally checked out on me, if you were wondering what that was. And I'll add a little bit again to this side of the neck. But look, it's so lightweight and skin-like. And now I'm going to be red to filth because I did not blend this foundation down here. So let's just do that really quick. I told you it's been a while. Don't come for me. Oh, so much better. Okay, now that we've fixed that, here we have the golden side. It's just, what I was saying is it's so lightweight. You don't feel it on the skin at all. Even when you're applying it, it feels like nothing. It just looks like skin. There's nothing visibly sitting on the top. Again, just super innovative products with absolutely gorgeous textures. And then you can see on this side, we have the rosiness, which on my skin tone is going to act a little bit as like a bronzer. So it's going to give me some shading where my cheekbone is, but it still just looks like a very native bronze on my face. However, just be mindful that I think for some skin tones, this could look a little muddy. If things tend to go a little muddy on you, I would say golden, but they're both perfection, especially for a neutral skin tone like mine. I mean, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. We will dive into more product details at the end of this. Let's crack into this wonderful PR package from Finding Ferdinand. Again, thank you, Phytosurgence, and thank you, the Queen of Queens, the Queen of Blush at the very least. You know what I'm saying? But she's a queen. The Summer Abroad collection with Finding Ferdinand. First of all, just appreciation. Doing her thing with the citrus, the head wrap, the look, all of it. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I love this so much. Congratulations, Kackie. This is absolutely so exciting. I am just so excited. They were also so kind enough. I'm excited, okay? They were so gracious to send me all 6 shades, so I will swatch those now, and then we will pick a few to put on the face. Okay, so I don't forget, I just wanted to say this feels like such a perfect collaboration. Number one, because I heard about Finding Ferdinand through Kackie years ago, and I just love the idea of this company and have been wanting to try this company for a very long time. Especially when I was trying, like, had Finding Ferdinand released the blush formula and the ability to customize years ago before we got the new collection from Phytosurgence in Condensate, which is a dupe for a very beloved blush of mine, I would absolutely be trying to dupe it with this formula. Do you know what I mean? I just love that idea, especially wait, we'll get into this. We'll get into this. Right now it's the demo. Again, I'm so excited, don't even know where to start. What I wanted to say before we dove into swatches is that this feels like a perfect collaboration for Kackie just because I found out about them through Kackie. Kackie's very into color, as am I. And also, just the packaging. Like, you can't tell me this isn't Kackie. It's like classy, but with a bit of funk and spunk, down to like the citrus and the summer abroad labeling on the package, like chic, but still fun. Kind of like a mullet. Business in the front, party in the back. Business in the front, party in the back. Love it. I'm here for it. I think it vibes so well. Had to share that. Now, going into this, I did watch Kackie's video on the release of these, so I have a little bit of background information. Of course, we will dive further into the product and background information while we discuss at the end, but I do want to share that the reason that she sent her PR list, all 6 shades, is so that you could see the shades on a variety of skin tones, because Kackie did such an incredible thing while she was developing these shades, which was to pick kind of 2 colorways and provide 3 different variants within that colorway so that they would work for as many skin tones as possible, which I think is an excellent thing to do, especially with blush. You tend to see blush come out in 1 pink, 1 magenta, 1 mauve, 1 cherry for everybody. And we all know that that doesn't always work out. I think a lot of people try to compensate for it with formula, but I think that sometimes is because they can't do the color well. We know Phytosurgence can, and they have. But I'm so happy that Kackie did this, and the way she talks about it, when she talks about including more kind of base pigment, taking out some of the white pigment as the base, I would love to sit and talk to her for hours about that, because that ties into my color theory video. If you haven't watched that, I will link it below, but we talk about shading, tinting, and toning things. Oh my gosh, how I would love to do those things in a lab and measure pigment. Sounds very fun. Anyway, that was not sarcasm, by the way. So we have kind of our beigey pink shade range, and I will go from top to bottom here. So top is Latte, which is a beautiful pinky beige, which I love this color on my lips too, and we might even try that. Very beautiful color, especially if you are quite fair like I am. Then we have a lot, as in milk, I believe, is that middle shade. So it looks like she's taken out some of the white and added a bit more depth in the pink and the beige. I love that color. It's like a true neutral rose. The rose that we all hope a blush is going to be, but then it turns pink. This is not going to turn pink because there's enough beige in it. Because what? She toned it. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for it. And then lastly is the shade, I'm getting old, Macchiato, which who doesn't love a macchiato? Do you know what I mean? Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. This is going to be probably on repeat in fall for me, but on deeper skin tones, this is going to be a lovely addition to kind of living in this color range. But you can see there a bit more toastiness and a bit more kind of almost red leaning, but not in like a, you know how we don't want things to go pink? I'm sure some people don't want things to go red. This is not going to go red. It's just more of a terracotta. It gets a little bit further into terracotta than these first 2 shades. They kind of live more in the rose, if that's helpful. Frank is sniffing under the door. This video is just pure chaos. Kackie, Jason, Tom, I hope that's okay. Finding Ferdinand, welcome. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Next on the more coral side of things, which you know, I love me a watermelon coral, especially in spring and summer, and I'm always down to dabble in some pigment. Do you know what I'm saying? So from the top, we have Paloma, which is an excellent drink choice, if I may say so. She's killing it with the drink choices. A beautiful watermelon coral. So this, I think I might have something somewhat similar, but I cannot wait to swatch and compare. Then we have Spritz, which I do love me. Do you know, I've never had an Aperol Spritz, but I love Aperol. I make a whiskey smash with it, and it tastes like an orange Tic Tac. Fun fact. But a very beautiful color. So here, again, we get a little bit further from a white kind of pinky base into a little bit more red of a coral. I'm definitely getting more red in this coral than orange. And then lastly, we have Aperitif. I know I might butcher that. I'm so sorry. Again, getting much more bold with the red on this one, but it's not, again, it's not red to the point where it's just primary red. I'm getting a bit more orange in that one. They all are very balanced with red and orange. Again, we lean a little bit pink on the red side of things here, but it's not red. You feel me if you love color nuance. Then we have the second one. It does lean a little bit more orange and the bottom leans a little bit more red. But it's so nuanced and beautiful, and they're both kind of down the middle enough that it's not swaying just in that direction. It's just that compared to each other, one has a touch more red, one has a touch more orange. I'm going to need Kackie to let me know if my assumptions there are correct based on her pigment ingredients, because she weighed them, and I love that. All right, so my plan is on my golden side, stick with the corals, and then on my rosy side, stick with some of the lattes, and I am actually going to apply with my Rare Beauty. The name is not on this, but it is the blush brush. So kind of like a half stippling, somewhat dense, but very flexible brush like this. This formula to the touch feels like oil. Not, again, not in a bad way, but it goes on. I saw someone mention that it feels kind of like a dry oil. It absolutely does. And you can absolutely apply with fingers. However, I like using a brush for control. But look how gorgeous that is. That is the shade Latte. I knew this was going to be a favorite. I mean, my skin tone's going to pull out just the right amount of pink with that. Fab. This is going to be in an everyday bucket. And the texture on the skin, there is a little bit of that same kind of oily feeling, but not in a sticky way. And it, again, is just one of those products that looks like dewy, voluptuous skin. So pretty. So pretty. I'm going to clean my brush off, and what I want to do, because I love blush, I'm going to go one shade up into that A Lot shade and just add a little bit towards the back of my cheek. Who am I kidding? I just put it over top. I saved a little bit up here, but look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. And then just because I like to be extra, let's add just a touch of macchiato towards the back here. And maybe up to the temple. Oh, it's pretty. It's so pretty because it gives me a lot of that brown shade that I love. And I can't wait to, again, compare these swatch-wise to a couple of the things that I have in my collection. But there is my rosy bronzer, shade 1 from Phytosurgence, and all 3 of the beige shades on my cheek together. Do you need 3 blush shades on your cheek? No. Is it fun? Yes. Do they complement each other well? Absolutely. Feel gorgeous. All right, with my brush wiped off, I'm going to go into what can potentially be my favorite shade of all in this collection, and that is Paloma. I'm going to pick up just a little bit, and on the golden side, I guarantee you that I guarantee you that I've messed that up at least once while making this video. Look at that. That is such a fun color, and it's not overwhelming to my skin tone, which is hard to do. Like, I was not very delicate with dipping into that. And it's just that beautiful watermelon coral shade that I really love to play with, especially if you're someone who is afraid of like a fuchsia blush like this. See how well it complements that color? So this would be an excellent color for like a Barbie makeup look if pinks, like pinks, don't traditionally look super great on you. I like to go for pinks that are either balanced with some of this orange and white and beige, like this, or I go for something more like this that has a little bit of red purple in it. So something that's balanced. This is very balanced. I cannot wait to see what this looks like next to the Natasha Denona Puff Paint, because Daria is a beautiful shade. But this, I think, is almost better. So again, the texture is just lovely. You are going to be dewy. And now that this is set, it does dry a little bit, but you are going to have, like if you went like this, you're going to have some residue on your hands, but that doesn't bother me as long as it's not sticky, and it's not sticky. Praise. All right, now I'm probably not going to add a ton of the bright colors because I'm not traditionally someone who would, but let's add just a little bit. Again, kind of focusing this in a tighter area. I'm not going to go all the way out to the apple of my cheeks, just kind of focus it right in the center of where I applied blush. Yeah. I love that. It adds, like this would look absolutely stunning with that coral lip. And I'm so excited because I really wanted that coral Danessa Myricks Vision Flush. I like this better. I don't have to be as delicate with all the shades as that Vision Flush. And then why not, since we did it on the other side, I'll go in with Aperitif and just add even more kind of towards the center and maybe up into the temple a little bit. Ooh, yeah, that's punchy. If you want something a little punchy punch, that's where you get it. So that is the coral side. Again, lovely, lovely textures. What I'm going to do now is add a little bit of brow product, and then we will come back, apply the lips, and get into some product details and swatches. I swear, it slightly pains me to know that this might be some of your first video. But this is where we're at today. For lips, I'm very excited to talk about the 7th and final product in the collab with Finding Ferdinand X Kackie, which is the lip gloss, but I want to go in with Fit Glow Lip Liner in Nude, just to add a little bit of structure to my lips. All right, so this is the Finding Ferdinand lip gloss. The shade is called Limoncello, rightly so. Absolutely, Frank, please, I'm trying to talk about lip gloss. Absolutely nailed, absolutely nailed. The scent, you know I'm a big scent person. If you're new here, hi, I'm a big scent person. It is a beautiful gloss with a golden shimmer to it. You cannot feel the shimmer whatsoever. Wouldn't expect anything less from Kackie. The applicator is a wonderful, cute little kind of oval shape, but it grabs the perfect amount of gloss. But there you can kind of see the color a little bit more. Absolutely beautiful. The packaging feels nice and substantial. This beautiful kind of gold tip to the applicator wand is beautiful. But back to the scent. I am someone who loves lemon everything. I like tangy lemon. I like sweet lemon, such as a limoncello. If you have not tried the LaCroix Limoncello, I highly suggest that you do. It is delicious, and this smells just like that. just like that, to the point where it's so good, especially for summer. But anytime. I love limoncello anytime. But there is the shade on. So I did add a little bit of that nude lip liner just to help frame the lips. You cannot feel the shimmer. Maybe this tiniest bit, like it doesn't feel like a clear gloss, but I wouldn't expect it to. But the shimmer is so fine that you're not getting kind of like that glittery feel, which I can't stand. Look how cute. Finding Ferdinand. I can smell the scent, but it's not overpowering. It's like just the right amount of scent to get pleasure out of the use of the product without feeling overwhelming. Very kind of lip balm formula feeling. Not sticky at all. It has a little bit of like a lip oil feel to it as well. Honestly, I would say this is very similar to the N Beauty lip glaze that we talk about here a decent amount on my channel. It's just not quite as gel-like. There's still a teensy bit of cushion to it, and there's enough gel-like quality to it that it doesn't feel like the oiliness is going to kind of get out of control and migrate. It feels very kind of, it's going to stay put. I have worn this. It does stay put. It's lovely. It's so lovely. I can't get over this cheek. I cannot. I also cannot get over this cheek. Like blush draping with this color is so fun with the corals, but this is an everyday Rachel cheek. And this lip is an everyday Rachel lip. Like, come on, look at that. Let me just, she lives here. She might dabble, but she lives here. Okay, what am I on about? Do you know what I mean? I do want to do one last thing before we move into swatches and then bring up the websites, and that is using Latte. I want to put it on my eye just to see how it feels. You know, we like a multi-use product. Now, these do feel a little oily, so I'm not sure how that's going to translate on the eyes, but I want to try. It could be a very cool kind of wet look. Yeah, that's cool. And because the lightest shade doesn't have a ton of that base pigment, even though it's kind of oily and gives you that wet look, look at that. It's not going to crease because there's no pigment to bunch up. There is, but there's not an abundance of pigment to bunch up. So this would be a really good, this Latte shade is a really good option just to add like a wet lid. All right, enough yabbering. Let's get into some swatches and then we shall get into product details and all of that fun stuff. Okay, here we have Fume from Phytosurgence in between Latte and Olot. You can see here very clearly the amount of kind of rosiness that she's built into this, which is so crazy because when you look at it on the face, you do get rosiness, but when you look at it compared to something that has a bit more kind of like beigey brown, she did such an awesome job because you can very clearly see the difference in color here. That makes me so happy. Now, you know my very favorite blush is Condensate, and I know some of you have picked that up on my recommendation. So just to give you reference of what that looks like next to these, this is Condensate. It is kind of a true lavender gray. You can definitely see a bit more of the warmth in these, although they do still have a very, very good balance of neutral and cool. You can kind of see I've got neutral leaning a bit warm, then we've got neutral leaning a bit cool, and then these kind of like straddle the middle. They're very balanced. I love balance in color. As a neutral person, that is what we look for, and so very few brands actually deliver on that. Phytosurgence and this collab with Kackie delivers on that. Then just to show you again some warmth to compare it to, I have Smolder from Phytosurgence. So you can see quite a bit of oranginess and how that translates into the two lighter shades from Kackie's beigey brown line. And then let's just add that last deepest shade from Kackie's. So here is the last shade. Again, you're gonna see a lot more kind of oranginess in Smolder, and this kind of almost looks berry next to it, which is so wild because again, she just balanced these so well that I think that they could go either way depending on what your undertone is and what else you put beside of it. I love it. I can't get over how much cooler they look next to Smolder. And then the last one that I want to swatch it next to is going to be the Balm Desert Bronzer, just to show you that, because that is quite kind of a rosy, mucky color. Again, you can see a little bit more of the vibrance with the pink and the rose in Kackies collab. This is really great. This is like all my favorite colors on one hand. But that said, let's talk about one last shade I just remembered. That's Blush Please. I know a lot of people have this shade, so just to show you what that looks like next to Kackies collab as well. So this is where you might get into some similarities, but this again is almost more gray, like there's gray added. I don't believe that she used a lot of gray at all to kind of mute these down. So that top shade being a lot is probably the closest there to Blush Please. So there's kind of a frame of reference. You can also see how kind of matte looking Blush Please is, even though it's kind of more of a satin. All the rest of these are very, excluding the Desert Balm, the Balm Desert Bronzer. The rest of these very dewy. It has almost a similar finish to the Phytosurgence. When it comes to sheen, I just think the Phytosurgence might dry down a little bit more, but as I'm touching these, they are continuing to kind of dry down a little bit. But let's move into the coral shades. Okay, admittedly, I do not have a ton of shades of blush that kind of fall into this coral category, but up top we have Paloma. Then underneath that we have the Natasha Denona Puff Paint in Daria, which they're very, very close. However, there's less orange and more pink in the Kackie collaboration in that shade Paloma, which I kind of love, to be quite honest with you, but very, very similar. Then when it comes to Spritz and Aperitif, this is where we're going to get the furthest away from what I have in my collection, but I did want to swatch here. I have Hot Mama from the Balm, and then what is this one? Third Date, I believe. Swiss Dot. Just kidding, Swiss Dot. So I wanted to include those because this Hot Mama here is like a dead ringer dupe for NARS Orgasm. So if you have that, you can kind of see the gold shift to it. If you have that, that will kind of give you an idea of where these live. So they do have peachiness to them, but they have much more of like an orange peach and a lot more red. So I hope that's helpful. This is where I'm going to be the least helpful. This is where my brain lives with blush. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, those are all of the blushes swatched. Now let's swatch some bronzers, shall we? We're going to switch back over to Phytosurgence. Okay, so I tried to choose bronzers that I know a lot of people have, as well as ones that will be the best frame of reference in terms of color temperature. So at the very top here, we have my very beloved Gucci bronzer, the Soleil Eclat in shade 01. It is a very rosy bronzer to the point where I would call it pink. And we had many discussions about this, Jason and I, because we couldn't believe how pink it was. Underneath that is the Phytosurgence shade 2 Rosy Daybreak, which is, I think, a much more doable down the middle neutral version of a rosy blush that I think is going to look a lot better on a lot of people, because the amount of pink that is in the Gucci tends to lend itself for me overdoing it and it being a very overdone bronze look, whereas the Phytosurgence Rosy Daybreak is much more believable. Then I have the Makeup by Mario Transforming Skin Enhancer. I hate the names of those products. This is, again, one of my more neutral blushes, and you can kind of see it definitely lives more neutral, especially compared to the red pink of the Gucci. However, if we go underneath it to Golden Daybreak, this is a perfect example of just how neutral, while still being somewhat golden. They absolutely nailed this, because this currently was the most neutral blush that I had. And then we get down to the Rare Beauty Warm Wishes Bronzer Stick and Power Boost, which was always too yellow. You can clearly see here that the temperature of the Phytosurgence, while it has a little bit of gold, when you put it next to something that is that yellow gold, this becomes more beigey gold and so much more wearable, especially if you are neutral. They just did so beautifully with these colors. I mean, just enough difference to really amp up your personal undertones, but still close enough that if you're neutral, neither one of these is going to look like, ooh, you know, that's not meant to be there type of thing. So they just nailed it with the colors. Kackie nailed it with the colors with Finding Ferdinand. This is going to be an everyday makeup look for me. I think that adding a bit of that wet shine to the lid is so fun. Right now, I'm not wearing a lot of eye makeup, but that one feels very doable. I'm not getting any irritation whatsoever. And the lip gloss is fabulous. But let's dive into details about the collection, where and when you can get yours, price point, all of that. Let's do it. All right, apologies for the glare, but I'm looking on my computer. Let's start with Phytosurgence. So the Spectral Sunlight Cream Bronzer is going to come in at 34 Canadian dollars, which comes out to $25 US. I just love the exchange rate. Do you know what I mean? I get that it might not be that way the other way around, but we love it. This bronzer also comes in 12 shades, friends, and they're going to alternate between golden and rosy, and they are absolutely outstanding. We've been needing a bronzer range to come out, and Phytosurgence, they did the thing. Do you know what I mean? And I'm so happy and proud of them. They also did an outstanding job of swatching on very different skin tones on the website. I want to reiterate, I'm not just pale. I might look pale by myself, but I will insert a picture that I shared with Jason just to like really prove to you all how fair I am. You're not allowed to mess with contrast in photos with me, or I'll just lose my face. Do you know what I mean? Jason also swatched on himself in the shade 4. He has deeper skin tones in 6 and 8, 7 and 5, 10 and 9 on the website. Beautiful, beautiful people. And I feel so honored to be a part of that. So thank you again so much. I'm like, oh, I'm so fancy. Anyway, they said that, I want to read this because if you don't want this, fast forward, I'll put a timestamp. But I think that Jason and Tom do such an excellent job writing the copy on their website that I want to share it. So, Spectral Sunlight Cream Bronzer. Where do we begin with this one? Ever since launching our makeup line with blush, you have all asked for bronzers. However, we really wanted to take our time and do it right to our standards. 4 years later, enter Spectral Sunlight, our take on bronzers. Imagine reliving summer and enveloping your skin in warmth from its most glorious sun-kissed state. That's Spectral Sunlight. Beautifully believable bronzers and various undertones in a hybrid powder cream formula that very importantly do not look orange or fake on the skin. 1000% agree. So it is not sticky to the touch at all. It feels like powder, but you don't feel anything on your face because it is such a lightweight cream. They nailed that. The purpose is a weightless, long-wearing cream to powder that comes in a variety of golden and rosy leaning neutral tones to seamlessly add natural warmth. Sculpture? You ever say a word and it doesn't sound right? And depth to the face. Again, 100% agree. It's long wearing, cream to powder bronzer, golden and rosy leaning neutral. So everything that I mentioned before, make sure you go back and kind of pause the video if you want to get a good look. Very neutral, especially when you compare it to traditional bronzers on the market. It's that innovation that we've talked about with Phytosurgence. They always nail the formula to where it literally feels like nothing. It's the easiest thing going on. It's hard to overdo, but it's also sheer. You can also build it up. It's just, it does what you want it to do no matter what your mood is that day. And the colors are not going to be polarizing colors that don't look natural on a variety of skin tones. We've been needing that for so long, and I'm so happy that Phytosurgence filled that gap because geniuses. Do you know what I mean? It also walks through shade descriptions and picking your shade. So they go through undertones, shade depth, shade flexibility, picking the right shade. Phytosurgence is one of those companies that I think everyone should strive to be when it comes to transparency to consumers. They're constantly giving us information about the formulas, about how to find the shade, what shades are going to work the best for you. I've yet to see a company that gives so much free content and FAQs and help as they do on their Instagram. They're constantly showing different skin tones with all of these colors and shades. If you have a question, I highly encourage you, one, to read through the website page and also to go check out their Instagram. They also include directions on how to use the product and storage. They're just offering a lot of things that I don't see a lot of other brands doing that I think is very important. And I am just so happy for them. I know that they did run out of stock of some of the shades when they first launched, which is a wonderful problem to have. As I'm clicking through this, it looks like everything has been restocked because I don't believe that Jason and Tom really sleep at this point. So go show them love. I highly recommend the formula. It is not going to be similar in experience at all to the Spectral Shines. If you want to see those kind of next to each other, I'm happy to do a video on that, but rest assured you will be seeing these bronzers in probably the majority of my videos, 99% moving forward. That's how much I love them, and I think that that says something. I know it seems like I ride hard for Phytosurgence, but I get the vision and the textures and the innovative products, and I have never used them on someone and that person walk away unhappy, and I have used them on a plethora of skin from a small child to a mother of the groom. So I have no qualms recommending these products to you. Now we just need them. I want to know what his texture of a lip gloss would be. I'm just putting that out there. I just need to know what it would be. I know that it might not be a product that everyone wants to see from Phytosurgence, but I need to know what it would feel like. Also, I would never turn down complexion products. Just saying. All right, getting into the Finding Ferdinand and Kackie Reviews Beauty collab for Summer Abroad. This is such a gorgeous picture, like so good. Anyway, there's a few ways that you can purchase this collection. I believe they are taking pre-orders at the time that I am filming this. They did sell out. Congratulations to Finding Ferdinand and Kackie. We love to see it. You can purchase the individual blushes for $28. You can also purchase 2 cream blushes for $50. And then you can also purchase 3 cream blushes for $71. I'm going to be throwing a lot of numbers at you. I will put them below. Then you can also purchase the lip gloss and 3 blush shades for $92, as well as the full collection that you saw me swatch for $165. Okay, sorry, I had to Google a few things. So you're looking at $28 for 3.5 milliliters or 0.12 fluid ounces. You do get a little bit more in the Phytosurgence blushes for about $15. Just a little over half the cost. You can kind of see the size difference a little bit there. However, when you look at things like the RMS Lip to Cheek, which is $36 for 4.82 grams or 0.17 fluid ounces, not much more product for $7 more. And then the Tata Harper, which is just about the same size, like splitting hairs, and comes in at $45. I think that it is a very good value. You know, I like to keep things at least around the 20 mark. I'm trying to keep it below 30 per makeup item. Do you know what I mean? So this falls right into that. That said, I did see some comments somewhere where they were comparing this formula to Tata Harper. I have owned Tata Harper. I know that Kackie has owned and loved Tata Harper blushes. I do not think that they are similar whatsoever. I think there's some similarities, but I also think that the Tata Harper tended to be a bit more balmy and sticky, whereas if anything, this leaves a little oil residue. But as you can see now that it's sunk fully into the skin, it's just kind of hydrated my skin and I'm not getting any residue whatsoever. So I do think they're different in that sense. You just have to give it a little time to fully sink into the skin. However, you don't lose that dewy effect that it gives. I really enjoy these. Do I think you need every single color? If you like to play with blush, you do, because you saw how different each individual color is. I do think that there's going to be a color for everyone, whether you like a kind of poppy punch of color or you like to stay in kind of that neutral zone like I do. You know, again, I like to have some fun, but I do think there's something for everyone. She did a fabulous, fabulous job creating these colors, and I really do enjoy this formula quite a bit. This would be such an easy formula if you want to stick to just finger application. However, it does apply beautifully with a brush. As for the lip gloss, you can purchase it on its own for $26, or again in some of those bundles that I mentioned before. I love this lip gloss. Moisturizing, plushy enough. It's not gel, but it's plushy. It has just enough oil to where it feels like it's really nourishing the lips, similar to N Beauty, but it's not going to migrate everywhere, and that's what's important to me. And I know that some might say, why just a goldy lip gloss? Because in the summertime, it's that perfect shade to just really plump the lips, and you can see that that shimmer really reflects right on the lip line to give you like jutesy lips, similarly to the N Beauty Lip Glaze Candy Cane. All of that iridescent-y shimmer just makes the lips look luscious and plump. And listen, more people need to do limoncello. I hope that Finding Ferdinand keeps that as an option for some of their custom creations, because I would love to take a crack at creating some of my favorite lip colors. But that said, I can't speak to shipping. I do think there might be abroad shipping getting up there in price. However, there will be free shipping in the US for any order $50 or more. I am so happy. I mean, this, again, new face of makeup. Do you know what I mean? So good. But let's go ahead, wrap this video up, because I have yapped for a very long time. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I so very much appreciate it. Thank you to Finding Ferdinand for sending this collection to me. Thank you to Kackie for adding me to the PR list. Thank you so much to Tom and Jason at Phytosurgence for allowing me to be involved in the release of the Phytosurgence Bronzers, the Spectral Sunlight. I cannot say thank you enough to all of these people. It means the world to me. I love doing YouTube, and don't worry, we will be catching up very, very soon. I have a lot to share with all of you. I hope that you're doing well. If this was your first video, welcome to the chaos. It's not always this chaotic, but sometimes. And in the case where I took a couple weeks off of filming, I'm not sure what to do with my hands. Do you know what I mean? So thank you for joining. If you are new here, I would love to have you subscribe and join our little community. We talk about fashion, beauty, wellness, mental, and chronic health. And I hope that you're having a wonderful day, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Till then, bye.